Hello everyone and welcome to my TJ Silver channel. Today I would like to show you how I achieved this look, and it was making a veneer using the Inka Gold and some archival inks. Very simple technique, but I thought it was really quite effective and I was very pleased with the result. So here goes. I'll run through the tools first of all. Obviously you're going to need some Inka Gold. Now, doesn't matter what colours you use, that's entirely up to you. I've done it on the white clay because I just thought this time of year, coming into sort of summer, well hopefully over here anyway at some point, it was just nicer to have sort of some bright, you know, fun colours I call them. And here I have the violet, I have the yellow green or green yellow, and I call this the electric blue, but they call it a star blue. So those are the three that I'll be using today. Also archival inks, I've got the Ranger ones here, and this is a cornflower blue and the leaf green, but again if you have other colours feel free to use those. Some cutters would be useful, but you don't have to use cutters, you can just use your craft knife if you want to cut shapes out. Also something that you can use to burnish the elements that I'm going to then put onto a piece of clay, so you're burnishing it to another piece. This is for card making predominantly, it's a bone folder, but anything, if you've got something else that you could use, that's fine. Some water so as you can spritz. Paintbrush, and this one is about 3/4 of an inch. It's a flathead paintbrush. It's not an expensive one at all, it's just a nylon head, but I think it was, I don't know, it's the first one I sort of put my hands on, but it came in a set I believe, so very cheap. Craft knife, your blade. Also I will be using these. Now these are very similar to the Fat Daddy-O's, and the lovely Valerie Evans of The Unruly Housewife put me onto these, and they're brilliant. This one I would say is quite a bit cheaper than the Fat Daddy-O's, but I don't think they do as many shapes, but I have got the square set too. And what actually drew me to them as well is the fact that obviously when you do cut your clay, you don't get that little edge piece that sometimes you get on the little metal cutters. You know, you get that little piece which you sort of have to sort of fiddle around with. But I also like this, and this is what drew me to doing this particular thing with the archival ink, so we'll use those in a minute. Also, good idea if you've maybe got some baby wipes on hand and some paper towel. So let's make a start. Okay, so I am just going to use some white Polymer Clay, and this I have conditioned through my pasta machine, and I've rolled this out on a number 4. So all we need to do to start, take one of your colours, and with your water, just a light spritz, and you sort of basically then watered it down enough so as you can apply it to your brush. And all you need to do is just run this across your clay. Sometimes you can do that in one fell swoop, sometimes it takes a couple of goes, but that's all you need to do, just once. And then if you use your baby wipe, you can clean the excess off of your brush. You'll get a very small transference of colour to the next one you use, but it really is, you're not going to notice it. And I've had these for so long. I think this was probably the first colour I bought, and that must be 2 or 3 years ago now. I've had water to it, I've put, you know, baby wipes in there to keep it moist, so they're very versatile, and a lot of fun to use, and they can give some wonderful effects, and I do love the colours. So next is the green, and the green doesn't seem to be quite as thick or quite as deep looking as the blue, but can still give a nice effect, so just try and get as much on there as you can. That'll be fine. Maybe another baby wipe, which would be a good idea to clean my brush. But like I say, don't worry too much about getting it all out, because it's not going to make any difference to your Inka Golds at all. That's not going to affect them. And the last one to do is just the violet. And once you've done all 3, you need to really sort of set it aside just to give it chance to dry fully before running it back through your pasta machine. So what I will do is I will then show you that, because I've managed to make one a little bit earlier. that way you haven't got to sit and wait for something to dry. So I'll show you the next one, and like I say, set this one aside. Okay. Put this on some paper, and that one can stay and wait until that's fully dry before I do anything else with it. And then I've got one here which we will run through the machine, and what I will do is I'll show you that I actually put a piece of parchment paper, or I've actually got the deli wrap here, put that over the top of it and run it through the pasta machine. Now this was done on a number 4. I run it through on a number 4 and then I'll run it through again on a number 5. So we'll just run this through the machine. And you'll see there that it's managed to sort of hold itself to the actual piece of clay. So just one notch down to a number 5, run it through again, take off the paper, and you'll be able to see then that it's actually now well and truly into the clay, so it's not going to come off all over your hands, which is what you don't want particularly. Now's the time to do some archival inks. Now you don't have to use these sort of things, this is just that I really like the sort of shapes. I thought they were quite funky, like this one just gave quite a nice effect, but it's really up to you. I'll use the circle one again. I think I might use the smaller one, and you don't have to apply really any pressure. It's just about getting enough on there and just lightly touching it. Doesn't matter if it hasn't completely gone all the way round or you've not got an even. I think that gives it quite a nice look. And then we'll cut to the green. Just use a baby wipe to take the excess off of that. But you can, if you want to at the end, if you find that you've still got quite a bit on there, then if you use some rubbing alcohol or surgical spirits, and that will clean them up totally. So this is the green, and it just brings it up, I think, and it's just fun. But like I say, you really don't have to apply any pressure. And you can go and do as much as you like and cover the whole thing if you wish. I shall just do that amount, and then I'll show you what I did next. Was basically taking these out and just taking some shapes out of them. Take this one up here, maybe get one that's got a lot more in it. Again there, maybe one more over here with a bit of blue, and then if you just lift that away, but don't discard that because that can be used. And then what I did then was I had a piece of clay that I just had on a number 2 on my pasta machine, and literally just laid these on the top, just quite randomly. But you can, if you want to make something pretty with them, like a flower or something like that, that's entirely up to you. You can go wild, as I say, and I just like the fact that there is this randomness. And once you burnish these on, you'll see what I mean. Just need to get another piece of paper and just let that sit on there, and then just work these in. Now you'll get to a point where you'll know that they are definitely adhered to that piece of clay underneath. It's not about squashing them, it really is just about burnishing them, just about making them become part of the piece of clay underneath, really. And if you want to, you can then run it through the pasta machine again, just to be sure, but I would do it on a number 2. I wouldn't do it anything less than that, otherwise you might distort it a little bit. But once you've done, or once you've got to a point where you're happy doing this stage, you'll see that once you run it through, you know for sure it's definitely adhered itself to it. And then you can start cutting some shapes out. Now out of something like this, I would probably, or I'd like to think I'd probably get a pendant and possibly a pair of earrings. But I think that's the fun part, really. And what I liked about it was it really did make the clay pop. And I haven't put anything on those. I put no varnish or any kind of finishes on them. So that's entirely up to you what you want to do. You could cover it with resin, you can varnish it, just really depends on what sort of look you wanted. But I really quite liked the matte finish that you can get, so I'm just going to run this through the machine and hopefully it won't distort it too much. But like I say, I'll bring that back up to a number 2. Maybe I'll cover it, I think I will, just in case. And just run that through. And there we go. And that's definitely adhered that to there. And it's up to you now what you want to do as far as shapes. I've actually got some of the, couple of the Melanie Muir shapes, which I absolutely adore. And I love this shape in particular, and possibly if I can get sort of 2 or 1 like that, maybe a slightly smaller one that's got a little bit of all 3, and then I can take the earrings. And if you want to do another piece of clay or lay this onto another piece of clay so as you've got a slightly heftier pendant, you can, and then you can make that back and make the bail on the back as well as a separate thing, and then put the whole thing together. But this is just, I love these shapes, I think they're great. And let's see if we can get a couple of pairs of earrings. We can do something like that maybe, and just cut these out. And these are fun, and I just think they're so pretty. But what I will say is when you're doing this, remember to turn it over. That way you haven't got 2 that are facing the same way as I've done in the past. Not unusual for me. And I'm going to go totally different and go over here and clean these nice and easy around here. Take that in there a little bit. There we go. And there we go. Lay that again to one side. And you know, it's quite an easy technique, I would say, and very effective. And you know, if you want to, and it's made a lovely. Now if you want to, you can, where I've actually, with this one, I've put the archival links on at the same time as cutting out the shapes. Now you can, if you want to, cut the shapes out, adhere them to the other piece of polymer clay, then use the archival link, which is what I did with this one. But this time I just wanted to see whether there was any different look, and I quite like it. You know, I think this one's probably got a little bit more going on with it, but this gives just as nice effect, and there's nothing to stop you putting some archival link on the top there now if you want to. So it's, you know, it's just a pretty look, I think. I think it just gives a nice summery, bright vibe. And all I did was really just slowly put my edges so as they were just a bit softer. But as to how you want to finish them, what you want to, whether you want to, you know, put a bail on the back, or whether you want to run something at the top here, just have a hole with a jump ring through it, it's entirely up to you. And then you'd have your earrings to match, which again I think would be really pretty. So there you go. So if you have any questions, please leave them below and I will answer them to the best I can. If you like this video, please do that. And if you wish to subscribe, please do so. And I hope you've enjoyed this. But like I say, any questions, please do ask them and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye bye.